So we're back at it again with that preying on Reddit content, because we have more to say and we forgot about neckbeards in the last video and we thought they deserved their own video. So we decided to go onto neckbeard cosplay stories tags on Reddit once again just to dive in because I spend a lot of time listening to Reddit videos, so I wanted to make some of my own, but with a cosplay twist to match the theme of this channel.
Yeah, the only thing that I listen to Reddit stories for the horror ones, not anything else.
They're all great.
You see, my side of Reddit is backrooms.
See, but that's the thing. I touch all of them, except the boomer ones. What's that dark place over there, Daddy? That's the boomers subreddit. We never go there.
Why the fuck are boomers on Reddit?
Because it's Reddit.
Fair. R/baby.
Short neckbeard story from when I was a 13-year-old weeb.
Ooh.
When I was in middle school, my friends and I were huge weebs and cosplayers. We often went to local conventions and made our own costumes. It was obvious how young we were with our braced faces and cringy personalities. At one con we went to in the town over, I dressed as Hatsune Miku, a character that isn't inherently... Hatsune Miku? A character that isn't inherently sexual, but is sexualized, and I went into this knowing that. The costume is about a year old, so it was on the small side, but I was a bit of an early bloomer in my chest. So normally when people asked for pictures, they were nice people just trying to enjoy a cosplay or give a kid some spotlight, except this one dude. Love that.
Yeah.
He looked in his 40s or 30s and he was dressed as Raiden from Mortal Kombat. It was obvious he had some shitty store-bought costume from Walmart or some shit like that. He also had gray contacts with little holes so he could see, which covered his entire pupil. The fact that I couldn't see his eyes made him all that more creepy to me. His teeth were also disgusting! Now I have a thing with teeth. I'm very easily disgusted when it comes to teeth and mouths, but they were pointy, jagged, and rotting from whatever drugs he was doing.
Oh.
He wasn't super tall, but I'd put him at about 5'9". He was skinny too, but like druggy skinny. He also stunk of smoke, but even before I got close to him I could smell his stench. He stopped me as I was quickly trying to leave the vendor room. He was just by the doorway, creepily standing there. Hey, are you dressed as Miku? Yeah, I smiled politely and got ready to walk away again.
I love Vocaloid. Miku's my favorite.
Yeah, me too. Now, I was obviously nervous and shy. If this happened to me now, I would have left earlier, but I was too afraid of being rude towards some stranger. Then he said,
Aw, now I gotta hug you. God.
And he made a hug motion with his arms out. My heart dropped. I did not want to hug this strange, gross man. I just talked to for 30 seconds, but I wasn't taught it was okay to reject hugs until after the incident, so I hugged him. Any woman reading this knows the feeling when a man hugs you in your upper back just so he can push your tits against his chest. After the hug, I said bye and I ran off to my mom's car to fix my makeup. When I got back inside, I met back up with my friends at a random booth where the head of security was hanging out with his friend. I told him what happened and saw him at the end of the aisle and hid in my friend group. The security guard listened in and asked who it was. My friends pointed him out and said he would make sure he was on his watch. The next day, my friend's stepmom drove us. She was an ex-cop and fiercely protective with concealed weapon permits.
Okay, big.
Oh! Also, the most unsuspecting is she looked like a little old lady enough to be our grandma and often wore cat shirts and stuff like that. She marched right up to the office and told them the story again and also told them about her concealed weapons permit and how she was secret extra security for another small con. They told her they knew who she was and would keep an eye out.
Oh. Huh?
For the rest of the con, whenever I saw his beady little eyes and conical hat, I hid. This dude legit scared and creeped me out. Neckbeard's cosplaying model. So this happened 5 years ago when I was a senior in high school. I was super into anime and went to a lot of conventions at the time, which included dressing up in cosplay. I only ever cosplayed male characters because I was pretty insecure about my body and male characters had cooler outfits in my opinion. Anyway, back to the neckbeard part. I was wearing a blue Exorcist t-shirt at school one day when this guy I had never met approached me. Nothing too weird at first, just a normal anime appreciation talk. Things were fine and we continued to run into each other pretty often. Later figured out this was not chance encounters, but I digress. After talking a few times, we got into discussing anime figures and cosplay. He, with no prompting whatsoever, goes into great detail about his dream cosplay for a girl is Homura's demon form from Madoka Magica. Because it's the sexiest outfit in anime. I just laugh it off and say something about how it's definitely a cool concept and then leave. Next time we run into each other, he tells me he's been working on a manga that he wants to premiere at a big anime convention in our city, which was about a month away. I say that's pretty cool and I wish him luck on the project, then drops this on me. I know you do cosplay. I was wondering if you could model this cosplay I made for the main girl in my manga. I was a bit taken back because, as I said before, I always cosplay men and showed him my previous cosplays. I asked what the outfit looks like and he pulls up a picture. The cosplay was nothing more than a fur bra and a pelt to go around the waist. He says she's a barbarian warrior or something, so there would be a sword involved too. I was a little freaked out at this point, so I just nervously laughed and walked away. Over the next few weeks, he kept hounding me about when I would model this cosplay so he could take pictures for his manga promo. I politely let him know I wouldn't be able to do it, and he should find somebody else, when he starts to freak out a little bit because apparently this whole character was based on me. So I had to model it or it wouldn't be accurate. I stopped talking to him for a while after that and just tried to move on. I saw him at the convention. He didn't have a booth, nor was he promoting any kind of mangas. I suspect it was all a ruse to take pictures of me in that cosplay. He luckily didn't recognize me as I was dressed as Kakashi from Naruto. I mostly had my face covered, phew. The story basically ends here. He kept trying to talk to me for a while after that. He even asked me to prom 3 separate times, including handing me a bottle of hot sauce with a note saying, "Hey, hot stuff, prom." That's a really bad promposal, too. What the fuck?
Like, let me just... hot sauce.
I mean, if she likes hot sauce, I guess. It just sounds very random, like, what? But my friend started shielding me from him around that time, so I sort of made it out unscathed. Got called a lolly at work, and he followed me out of the mall. Is that a cosplay one? Probably not, but that's like a wild intro.
Yeah.
This happened when I was 19 and worked at Hot Topic for a month in the summer. It was literally the worst place I worked and I don't miss it at all. From people claiming I was selling the devil's propaganda to a bunch of people making fun of our store, I've been through a lot within that month. But this story still gives me chills and a bunch of cringe when I think about it. Some information that I express in my other posts, I look extremely young. I passed for 14 or 16 really easily. I'm really skinny and back then I was very much feminine. Anyways, so where I live during the summer is prime tourist time. We get thousands of tourists and that's how the store kept afloat. It was a really boring and slow day and I was stuck behind the greeter spot since I was so bad at using the register. I was doing my normal welcome to Hot Topic, X is on sale, you can get X% off, whatever crap. But then it came. 2 weeaboos, a girl and a boy about 16 years old. As soon as they came in from the store, you could smell them from across the way. They look and smell like they hadn't showered for weeks, and the cosplays they were in were clearly made in China quality. Shiny, tangled wig, bad fabric, etc. The girl was cosplaying Hatsune Miku, and I don't really remember what the guy was wearing. I think it was some other Vocaloid. I cosplayed myself, but dear lord, I wouldn't have cringed if they had at least taken a fucking shower. I forced a smile on my face and approached them, clearly cringing so hard. I told them about the sale. The guy's eyes went wide and whispered something to his friends. The girl laughed and I asked what's up. He said, "You look like a real-life lolly. How old are you?" I stood in shock that he would ask such a gross question. If you don't know, lolly is not safe for work or girl children in anime. I just laughed nervously and walked away. After about half an hour, they would leave without buying anything and I thought it was done. Wrong. Across the store in the food court, I saw them sit nearby. I thought nothing of it until my shift ended. I decided to take a walk and go around the long way outside of the mall. After walking for about 5 minutes, I glance over and I see these weebs behind me. "Lolly," the guy said, and the girl laughed. I was so visibly uncomfortable, I basically sprinted out of the mall. By the time I was outside, they followed me too. I waited for my ride and felt them staring at me, giggling to themselves. Luckily, my ride arrived early and I bolted out of there. Pro tip, don't be a creep.
Ew.
This is literally, like, worse than any NeckBeard story I can think of. Like, okay, those are bad, but that one was real bad. NeckBeard story time. I got judged on my lack of accent and blinding glasses. So this story takes place at a local anime convention I was enjoying going to. I cosplay a bit very casually, but since I learned to sew this year, I went all out and decided to make my favorite character ever, Mei Rin from Black Butler. During the weekend, I got approached a few times by people wanting to chat, always friendly, a lot of fun, and the people who wanted to chat with me as Mei Rin were incredibly funny and not expecting anything too serious, which was perfect. Then, while at a booth, I saw a man I had only heard of in legends approach, a NeckBeard, flowing, wearing a traditional kimono, sandals, and hat. I don't know what the hat is called officially, but the one farmers wear, I believe, flat and made of straw. The encounter goes like this.
Mei Rin, huh?
Yes, sir, you got it.
Do the accent. Why aren't you talking in her accent, in a poor Mei Rin accent? Her accent is very specific. Yes, it is.
Sorry, dude, but her accent is indeed pretty specific, and it's just not in my talents. It's very cute, and I just can't do it. My voice always is a few octaves too low, but I'd love to learn how to do it someday.
You can't even do the accent, and what about your glasses? They're not the right ones.
Me pointing to my actual cosplay glasses hanging on the dress. Sir, these are my actual glasses. I switch out of them for pictures and stuff, but I need these ones to see because my actual eyesight is very bad.
You're not supposed to be able to see through them. That's the point in the anime.
So at this point, I just laughed it off and I told him that it would be very difficult to wear canon non-see-through glasses. But thanks for mentioning it anyway. At this time, my poor first convention best friend was checking out a sword stand, more specifically the metal lockets they also had displayed, and this guy tried to make a move on her. Luckily, she's a huge history buff, unimpressed with his knowledge. Eventually, he went away on his own. It's still so baffling and odd to me. He was so condescending and rude, over cosplay nonetheless. At NeckBeards, please don't correct. Like, just in general, don't do that to cosplayers.
Yeah.
Especially since, okay, so I have actual round glasses for Mei Rin. But I do wear these ones a lot because they're pretty round and they help me see, especially if I'm not wearing fake lashes. And I like to be able to see at least one day of the convention so I can buy art and stuff. If you want to take a picture with me, just wait for a second and I'll switch the glasses if you're really that pressed, like, the fuck?
Yeah, so I'm just going to share my experience with gross people. So I guess my first one was probably my third ever cosplay event, Phoenix Comic Con 2016. That's where I met my big sister. You look like a little librarian. I was really into Homestuck at that time. Homestuck was pretty much thriving.
It was acceptable.
Yeah,
it wasn't thriving. It was acceptable.
Yeah. I'm at the con and my phone is
dying.
Yeah, either dying or already dead at the point.
You went to charge it?
Yeah, so I went to go charge it. I had borrowed one of the people in my friend group's chargers. And the charging outlets were in really weird spots because pretty much there was a chair and then charging outlet and then another chair. So you had to be like in between the chairs in order to charge it. And, you know, there were already people in the chairs. So, what ended up happening was I go and plug my phone in. It was a really short charger, so it's not like I could have just not been in that area.
Yeah, like, squeezed it out.
And so I sit there, and there is another person there. For those of you acquainted with Homestuck, Bro Strider.
Bro Strider, you're in my room and you're trying to smoke me out?
So, pretty much, Bro Strider, I was already like, oh, cool, another Homestuck, but it's Bro Strider.
And he wasn't from the group of Homestucks we were hanging out with either. He, like, saw Homestucks, and this is a pretty normal thing if you've seen Homestucks at convention, like, if there's, like, one or two, like, alone, and they see, like, a giant group of them, they, like, integrate eventually, and it just becomes this massive horde of them.
Yeah.
Boku no Hero fans do it now.
So, pretty much, I sat down, he was there next to me. I kind of squiggled out of the way so I wouldn't be near him. Because, no, I was 12 at the time. I was a tiny little child, and this man was obviously, like, in his early 20s at best. Yeah, and so he kind of just kept, like, scooting closer to me, and I was like, okay. And then I was at the point where I really just couldn't scoot anymore. And he was like almost near shoulder touching, but like not quite there, and I was like, cool, awesome, I don't like this. And then the guy whose charger I was borrowing, like, I think he'd realized, like, something was up. And so he was like, hey, I'm just making sure you don't, like, steal my charger or something.
But, like, that's obviously not what he was doing. It was, like, he was trying to,
Yeah, like, it was
But
obvious.
everyone in our group that was established knew that he was 12 at this point, by the way, too, which did help also. But yeah, just look out for people.
Yeah.
Conventions. It's the guy!
It's the guy.
We just found him. In 2017, this lovely individual came to the Phoenix Comic-Con with the plan to shoot up the convention and murder actor Jason David Frank. As expected, he failed.
We were there for that.
Listen, neckbeard is not a state of being, it is a mindset.
Yeah.
If you are a fucking weeaboo and or old man, being a weeaboo does not mean you are a neckbeard inherently. Not showering and thinking women are property makes you a neckbeard. Yeah. To end us out, the real way is to stay away from neckbeards.
Try to not get yourself in small spaces with strangers and adults you don't know if you're young. Be in groups. Don't go off on your own.
Make sure you have signals to your friends to ever be able to get out of an uncomfortable situation. If you are in a short skirt or something like that, always have spandex underneath. That helps.
If you're uncomfortable with an outfit that you do want to do, always feel free to make modifications to it. Safety is much more important than accuracy.
Make sure you always have a safe spot you can get to, whether that be a hotel room in the hotel that the convention is or like just somewhere nearby. If you have any of your own neckbeard stories, please let us know, and because we find them very funny, if not cringe. Maybe we'll make a part 3 with just viewer submitted ones if we get any at all, probably not.
Also, feel free to put more tips and stuff down in the comments.
My name is Kai.
I'm Tyler.
And I hope your day gets better from here. Yeah. Bye.